Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to continued action of Track 1 here at the 2015 Mayday Mayhem Tournament. My name is Ms. Communication, and I am joined by...
I am Eeyore Jameson, and I am excited to be here.
We are getting ready here in this third game of the first day of a three-day tournament with two tracks to watch Cheyenne Roller Derby's Capitals take on West Texas Roller Dolls All-Stars. We have chartered rosters for you right now, but we can go ahead and go through those. Cheyenne bringing to town quite a team. We've got number 101 Scruella DeVille, 1112 Vivian Layamout, 123 Hooked on Onyx, 151 MC Slamma, 210 Bangarang Faye, 222 is Karen Your Ass Up or KY. 24 is Rockscar, 27 is Her Majesty, 3 is Battlebug, who will be on the bench coaching today. At 311 is Roll Pounce, 333 Miss Enigma, 35 is Bomb Dylan, 57 Bisco Fever, 61 Boom Boom Becky, and number 7 Hannah Smash Tana. This weekend, the Cheyenne Capitals are guest coached by Dirt Monkey from the Denver Roller Derby. Awesome. So, and who do we have for West Texas?
For the West Texas All-Stars, we have on coaching actually is Scary Go Round, number 11 Dream Eraser, number 13 Shadow Smith, 143 is Bam Bam Blocker, 19 is Heavy Metal Heather, 206 is Bombshell Bone, 36 is Vixen Vex, 55 Wild Wookie, number 8 Carcino Jen, number 88 Sour Patch, and number 973 Ghost Rider. And that is the West Texas All-Stars from Lubbock, Texas.
You'll also notice that Ghost Rider is wearing the number 99 today, so we may cross in between those. Last year, West Texas Roller Dolls were here at Mayday Mayhem, and they went 1-3 last year. They actually defeated Happy Valley by 2 points last year. So
wow, great. And it looks like Cheyenne, the Capitals, they were here in 2013 at the Mayday Mayhem. They had a 1-3 record during that year. However, this is not a well, it's a fairly new team, newer than the West Texas All-Stars. They were founded in 2010 and joined the WFTDA in 2012. Currently, they are ranked 153. Going up against West Texas, who is 202. So a little bit of a variance, but sometimes that makes it even more fun to watch.
I find that the lower that we get in rankings in the WFTDA, that you get into like anything could happen territory, because you're looking for teams that are going to rise very quickly when they learn how to be more and more consistent. Mm-hmm. You're seeing this a lot with Happy Valley. This last game that they had, the 9-point game against Lava City, was absolutely a completely different Happy Valley team than what we saw last year when they were brand new. Coming to Mayday
that last
Mayhem.
Game was just a phenomenal game to watch. I think right around that 150 mark is usually where I find that anything goes beyond that point.
Exactly. Now, the Capitals, I've watched them play since they started, and certainly some change-ups, and you may notice some skaters transferring in that you may notice or recognize from other leagues. But we have had the whistle to start. You are going to have to forgive us, watchers in the Watcherverse. We are facing the jammer line, so we will get jammer names to you as soon as we see them ourselves. Jam is in play. Capitals in orange, West Texas in purple.
So West Texas has number 13, Shadow Smith, as the jammer, and she just was called on a cutting penalty. Oh, it looks like the jammer for Cheyenne as well.
That's number 27, Her Majesty, also picking up a track cut. We're going to swap them out in the box, and of course, now we will go the full 2 minutes of the jam.
It's always so fun watching the jammers come in and to see how the NSOs interact with them too, because you could only imagine as they're coming to the penalty box, they're going, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, what's going on?
Her Majesty in a tussle at the top of the pack with Vivian Layham out. She is out. Shadow Smith in a tussle with Her Majesty at the top of the pack. She is out and ready to score. Her Majesty still back in the fray.
Number 27, Her Majesty. I'm sorry, I need to pay more attention to this roller derby thing. For a while there, she was adjusting her helmet cover, and I thought we were going to see a star pass right away at the beginning, but that was not the case.
Failure to reform dealt out on number 55, Wild Wookie. Capitals also losing number 210, Bangarang Faye to the penalty box. Both jammers right now, we've got Shadow Smith on her first scoring pass, and she finds it on the inside.
No, actually, Bam Bam Blocker was given the star pass. There was a star pass on the very first jam, just on that last pass. However, she was in scoring mode, so she was able to score, as she is still jamming up against Her Majesty in the yellow for Cheyenne Capital.
Natural conclusion of the jam. Her Majesty picks up one additional point of 5-4 in that last jam. We've got 5-4 now. Cheyenne on top. 27 minutes left in the first half.
Oh no, 5-7. West Texas. We were a little late with with some points there. That's all right.
Okay, West Texas 7, Cheyenne 5, 27 minutes remaining in the first half, and we have another jam in play. Capitals right now building a brace up at the top. Rockscar looking to open the door for her jammer.
Cheyenne is being jammed by Roll Pounce, who became the lead jammer for Orange, the Cheyenne Roller Dolls.
We've got number 8 for West Texas, Carcinogen. She is out and ready to score. Roll Pounce being forced to recycle the back of the pack. She calls off the jam. 2 points for Cheyenne.
Another blocker for West Texas going to the penalty box. There has been a lot of penalties to start off this game. Go ahead.
We've got a tie score right now in this game, 7-7, 26 minutes left in the first half, as we have already seen today. Absolutely, penalty box is going to come into play when you have a game this close. Capitals lining up at the top of that line and opening the door for MC Slamma. Capitals jammer, lead jammer.
She's jamming up against Dream Eraser for West Texas in the purple. Fast pack. Ooh, MC Slammer. Nice jump. Oh. However, she's being called on a misconduct foul.
Misconduct penalty means power jam advantage. West Texas, and West Texas ready to score. She gets past Vivian Layham out, and that's a full 5 points for West Texas. Cheyenne Capitals right now down 1 blocker. Dream Eraser looking to make a break on the outside and picks up another 5 points for West Texas.
This is when you start seeing the scores getting further and further apart, taking advantage of those power jams, as West Texas is doing right now.
Just as Slamma returns to the track.
Yes, but Slamma's got a long way to go, going all the way around the track as the pack came around to the 4th turn.
10 power points netted for the Capitals for the West Texas All-Stars in that last power play. Slamma back in play, and as Slamma was lead jammer, we will go the remaining seconds of this jam. 2 blockers being lost, 1 for each team, and MC Slamma picks up a track cut.
Ooh. It's our second time going to the penalty box during this jam.
So we'll start another power play, and 5 points in this power play. Capitals already hemorrhaging 10 points in that last power play. Capitals needing to shut down the defense against Dream Eraser. They do manage to nudge her out of bounds. That, folks, is the natural conclusion of the jam. 8 points on that run with MC Slamma still seated in the box.
Cheyenne had a little reprieve with just the time running out so that they weren't, West Texas was not able to capitalize even more on that power jam. However, you know, they do have a power jam right now, so they're going to be going straight into it, but they do still need to prove themselves by becoming lead jammers.
West Texas starting closer to the pivot line to give their jammer a head start. 1-4-3. Bam Bam Blocker is going to head to the penalty box on a back block penalty. MC Slamma, though, already re-entering, so she will sit for a full 30 seconds. Slamma still eligible for lead, and she gets it.
Yes, indeed. Almost another full 2-minute jam going to be there with Bam Bam Blocker trying to get that lead jam opportunity. However, due to the penalty, it is quickly swung in the opposite direction.
MC Slamma hammers through the pack. She is now on her second scoring pass. She picked up 5 points already as Bam Bam Blocker back in. There's another 5 on the board, 10 points total in that power play, essentially canceling out the first power play that Dream Eraser ran out earlier.
And Bam Bam Blocker having a tough time getting through the blocker line. However, she still needs to make her initial pass as well. So this is a great opportunity for Cheyenne as they're taking full advantage of it, getting within 6 right now.
Misconduct penalty being handed out to a West Texas blocker for contact while the jammer was down. We have a skating out of bounds penalty being assessed to Bam Bam Blocker. She will head out to the box, and MC Slamma out with a little skip and a jump. And another 5 points. I'm
just completely floored by the penalties that they are just coming fast and furious and really throwing the advantage in both directions this early in the game.
MC Slamma fighting with the wall of black and purple. They have to let her go. She puts another 5 points up and calls off the jam with Bam Bam Blocker on her feet in the box. So we will have a power start. That power jam, though, those 2 power jams back to back for MC Slamma netted her a total of 25 points on the jam. Score now 35-26. Cheyenne in the lead. We've got 21 minutes left here in this first period. Mayday Mayhem has started out great. We had a close game, first game this morning. We have a close game now. If you enjoy watching close games, please click that Donate Now button. Float us a few dollars to help us defray our expenses for this weekend to offer this for free. On the line for the Capitals, we've got number 333, Miss Enigma. And then, of course, Bam Bam Blocker being out of the penalty box, ready to score. Missy picks up 3 points, calls off the jam.
Quick jam, but able to still get some more points, adding to that lead. Definitely a good thing. You mentioned that the first bout or the first game, this game, even the last game, track 1, it seems to be the favorite place for having close games right now. I don't know what's going on in track 2 for currently, but so far we have had half the games during this Mayday Mayhem tournament that has been rather close. It's been just fun to watch, fun being here.
Her Majesty number 27 with the star for the Capitals, and she will become lead jammer.
She's jamming up against Carcinogen for West Texas.
Carcinogen number 8, roughly about 20 feet behind Her Majesty, slamming into the pack. West Texas in the back, so she has a chance to pick up some points. And we pick up 3 points before calling that.
I wasn't sure if Carcinogen was going to end up getting a point or two at the end with that last whistle, but was not able to get anything. And we are going to a team timeout for the West Texas All-Stars.
Score right now, 41-26. Cheyenne on top, 20 minutes frozen on the clock, just about. Hard-hitting action. It's really going to come down to the penalty box. Penalty management.
And that's what it has been so far, is that just those penalties has been helping and hurting at the same time. As I said earlier, it's a swing in one direction, then it's a pendulum swing in the other direction.
Both teams giving up 3 power jams here, and we're only 6 jams into the game.
That's great.
Talking about power points, though, given away.
Good timeout here by West Texas. Give yourself a chance to regroup. You still have 3 timeouts.
Power points are accounting for that main gap in the score between Cheyenne and West Texas. That 25-point jam for MC Slamma 2 jams ago, accounting for our difference in score. That penalty box makes a difference, ladies and gentlemen. We're back from the team timeout.
Roll pounce for Cheyenne, trying to get in there and just accidentally goes out of bounds, right back in on the inside track. So she has been sent out on a track cut penalty, as West Texas is going to enjoy this power jam. Oh, Bombshell Bone, the jammer for West Texas, she's going to have a power jam. However, she is not lead yet. She has not been able to make her initial pass through the pack, but she is still eligible.
She may still be eligible indeed, Eeyore, and she breaks out of the pack but ends up heading out at the top of the apex. She's restarting back around turn 3 right now. West Texas looking to play a little active offense for their jammer, hoping to break up that wall. She comes up against number 7, Hannah Smash Tana at the top of the pack. Hannah making a brace with one of her teammates. Bam Bam Blocker, though, clearing the way. Great penalty kill by the Capitals, though. Both jammers back in action, and no lead jammer status garnered. Again, Bombshell Bone could potentially be awarded the lead jammer status, but she is still on her initial pass.
Bam Bam Blocker, proving that she's not only a threat on the jamming line, but as well as a blocker.
Bisco with some great work around turn 1 against Bombshell Bone, manages to just nudge her out. But Bam Bam Blocker answering with a little bit of a nudge of her own. Both jammers ineligible to score right now. They are still completing their initial pass. We have a track cut being assessed to number 7, Hannah Smash Tana. She will go sit for 30 seconds.
Roll pounce finally makes her way through, but that went for the full natural 2-minute jam. No points on that jam. A lot of action, though.
0-0 on that jam. Heavy defense being dealt out by both of these teams. Again, score remains unchanged, 41-26. 17 minutes left in the first half. Capitals starting out 1 blocker shy. Hannah Smash Tana still sitting in the penalty box. Hannah Smash Tana, a recent graduate of the Slaughterhouse Derby Girls Butcher Babes.
Oh, great.
Now playing with the big kids.
Playing out of Cheyenne now?
Correct, playing out of Cheyenne now. MC Slamma with the star for the Capitals, and that's number 55 for West Texas. Wild Wookie jamming for the first time in the game.
What a Wild Wookie.
Wild Wookie still trying to find an assist right now from one of her team members, and she finds it on the inside. Lead jammer, but MC Slamma out and putting on the pressure, forcing the call off. Good idea to just call off the jam immediately, so you still have seconds on that period clock.
Yep, indeed. I had the opportunity to be able to chat with a couple of the Capital Stars skaters, and they informed me that Charmaniac, one of their skaters, had a 6-pound, 12-ounce Ivy Nicole. So a 6-pound, 12-ounce girl, Ivy Nicole. So they wanted to say a big shout out to you. They wish you were here, but they are so happy to hear that Ivy Nicole is born.
Is born. Yeah. Capitals losing a blocker to the penalty box as the jam is in play. That is number 8, Carcinogen, becoming lead jammer. She is jamming against number 35, Bomb Dylan.
Yes. The pivot for West Texas has been asked to leave. I did not see the penalty. However, that is Shadow Smith. One blocker for each team sitting down in the penalty box right now as we go to the next jam.
Dylan getting through the pack, ready to score. 4 points for Carcinogen. She calls it off. 30 right now for West Texas, 41 Cheyenne, and we've got 15:24 ticking down on the first period clock.
Definitely a good example of time flying when you're having fun. The first half of the first half already gone, and we still have ourselves a close game.
Number 27, Her Majesty, pulling out in front, lead jammer for the Capitals. She is jamming against...
I think that's Ghost Rider. Nope. No. Oh, yeah, it is. 973 Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider having trouble with that orange defense at the back of the pack. Bisco taking her hits after her as Her Majesty zooms through the pack and picks up 5 points for the Capitals.
I will admit, I blinked for a split second there. I didn't even see her go through the pack. She had gone through quite fast.
Ghost Rider finally breaking free as Her Majesty goes ahead and picks up 4 points and calls off the jam.
I did watch Her Majesty that time and saw her go from the outside to the inside, squeezing her way through, easily picking up those 5 points. Cheyenne now has the lead 55-30, starting to open this up a little bit. I have nothing else to say. I'm excited.
Capitals right now, the ones to garner that lead jammer status, they have had lead jammer status 9 times in this game, once on the board for West Texas. However, several of those lead jammer statuses were lost to penalties. Roll Pounce at the top of the pack, lead jammer.
Worked very hard to be able to get that lead jammer, having to battle against one of the blockers for West Texas.
Pack around turn 3 as Bam Bam blocker free and ready to score. Oh, sorry, that's Dream Eraser.
Roll Pound scoring 4 more points for Cheyenne, increasing that lead. Get the lead jam, call it off jam, get your points, call off the jam, go to the next one.
29-point game right now with 13 left in the first half, 30-59, Cheyenne on top. These two teams ranked 153 and 202. However, their tournament ranking coming into this, they are ranked third in their group is a Cheyenne Roller Derby against a 6th-seeded West Texas Roller Derby in our tournament. Out in front, that's number 151, MC Slamma, lead jamma.
That's fun to say, isn't it?
It is. She is jamming against...
That's number 8,
Carcinogen.
Yes.
MC Slamma through the pack, picks up 4 points. Carcinogen zooming into the pack, not quite enough time to steal anything from Slamma. 30-63.
Just able to increase that lead. Right now, it looks like both teams have seen that the beginning of the game was quite penalty heavy. I haven't seen a lot of action in the penalty box for the last 5 minutes. One person every now and then, but it has been considerably more clean than the beginning of the game. Next jam started off. Number 333, no, that's not right. Yeah, 333, Missy Enigma, jamming for the Capitals. And that, go ahead, I was going to say.
Miss Enigma catches it around the outside, lead jammer. To number 143, Bam Bam blocker, out and ready to score. She is about 10 feet behind Missy.
But they are roughly 40 feet behind this line that they're just getting faster and faster, going around the track, running away from the jammers.
Bangarang Faye using that lead jammer status to her advantage, racing the pack away, hoping to get West Texas to trail back behind the pack. It does work for her. Bam Bam Blocker eventually trailing behind the pack. Missy able to get into the pack, pick up 4 points, and call off the jam.
That was exactly what you try to do when doing that play, when trying to run ahead. Very seldom it really works. You know, you hope that someone's going to fall or someone's going to get held up, but. Yeah, it was fun seeing that it actually worked that time.
67:30 right now, 10 minutes and 19 seconds left on that period clock. Her Majesty on the line, number 27 for the Capitals, and she will pick up a forearm penalty as number 11 Dream Eraser out there for West Texas and lead.
Yeah, picking up that penalty just after that point of no return, having to take the long way around and get to the penalty box.
Dream Eraser finding it on the inside. Her skate just barely nicking the line. And on the out of play, that's going to be assessed to Scruella DeVille as Dream Eraser does pick up 5 points. She goes ahead and calls off the jam with Her Majesty still seated in the penalty box. We'll get some fresh legs out there for this next power start.
I don't see why you can't hit someone 40 feet away from the pack. I mean, that should be completely legal.
35, well, it is completely legal if you're both jammers. 35-67, West Texas trailing Cheyenne with 9 minutes left in the first half. Thanks again so much for tuning into our 2015 coverage of Mayday Mayhem here on Colorado Sports TV. Anchoring this power start for West Texas is number 8, Carcinogen. Great idea doing that. She has come in effectively as a jammer for West Texas. Her Majesty out and ready to score, but Carcinogen getting that lead jammer status before Her Majesty is able to return.
Carcinogen only had one blocker that she had to beat out. All the other blockers ended up getting penalties and going to the box.
Her Majesty out and ready to score. Carcinogen knocked to the outfield. And she was knocked to the outfield before being able to pass any Capitals. She would have picked up 2 extra points had she only grabbed one of their hips. Score remains unchanged, 35-67. We've got 8 minutes left here in the first half, and still plenty of derby all weekend long. We are so excited to be here. Our broadcast staff comes from as far away as Great Britain and as close as Greeley, Colorado, and everywhere in between. Number 11, Dream Eraser, sent out with the star for West Texas. She is lead, and MC Slamma is about 60 feet behind her right now, and she's going to force that call off. Scoreless jam.
It was a bad opportunity there for West Texas. They were able to have that last jam with Cheyenne having 2 people in the penalty box, and those 2 blockers are still in the penalty box. But they're both standing, so they're going to be running out there fairly soon. Looks like West Texas jammer is going to be trying to get around on the outside. Try to get that lead jam, take advantage of having only 2 blockers. Oh, she's not able to, though, as number 55, Wild Wookie from West Texas, was able to get the lead jammer for West Texas.
That's Roll Pounce number 311 with the star in orange and black. Wild Wookie in control of the jam clock as Roll Pounce heads out on a forearm penalty. This is the second forearm penalty in a row for Cheyenne. Her Majesty picking up a forearm penalty 2 jams ago. Wookie picking up 5 points in this power play.
And to see, we now get to see if this pendulum is going to be going back in the direction of West Texas. As Wild Wookie having just one last blocker, Vivian, to get past, she does. Picks herself up 5 points, a grand slam for the West Texas All-Stars.
Roll Pounce on her feet and released from the penalty box. She's still got 3/4 of a track and an initial pass before she can put any pressure on Wild Wookie. Wild Wookie coming up against KY. She steps out of bounds, keeps one skate out though, and avoids that track cut. Roll Pounce being knocked to the outfield as well. And we've got a low block penalty being called on number 206, Bombshell Bone. She'll head for a 30-second sit.
That was one of those low blocks that it happened. You're going to go to the penalty box. However, it still knocked Roll Pounce out of her game enough, and she's being sent out on another forearm penalty for Roll Pounce.
5 points for Wookie in this power play thus far. Right now, West Texas has the pack stopped between 3 and 4. They play a little active offense for their jammer, and no pack situation being called, and a multiple player block being called on Karen Urasov. She'll be out for 30 seconds. Wookie goes ahead and calls off the jam. 4 points. All of her points in that last jam. 19 points, all picked up as power point situation. 67-54, West Texas still in the fray. We've got a little less than 5 minutes on the clock.
That wasn't an easy 19 points either. Even though she had they were all power jam points, she had to fight in order to be able to get those points. We have a full penalty box right now as one of the West Texas blockers being released, and number 311 from Cheyenne, Roll Pounce, is being released from the penalty box.
Carcinogen number 8 is up at the top of the pack. She becomes the lead jammer. Right now, West Texas trying to contain Roll Pounce, but she gets through the pack, ready to score, but she's about half a track behind. Carcinogen being knocked out to the outfield. She goes ahead and calls off the jam.
Able to pick up 2 points on that pass as she was going to her knees. So West Texas was able to cut down the lead. The score now, Cheyenne up 67 to West Texas 56. So only 11-point lead now.
11-point lead, and we've got about 3 minutes and 43 seconds remaining in this first half. If Derby makes you excited, click on that Donate Now button.
Absolutely.
We would love some dollars.
Click on that Donate Now button, and if you're a part of Facebook and Twitter, because who isn't, make sure to share with everyone that you are watching this, and they can watch Mayday Mayhem as well.
Number 35, Bomb Dylan out and lead jammer. This is her second jam in this first half. She is jamming against Dream Eraser, who is out and ready to score. Bomb Dylan looking for those purple hips at the top of the pack. She finds them. All 4 points for the Capitals.
Capitals really starting to, as she was calling off that jam, all I could think is we are still going to have this. We are still going for it. We are not going to let that last couple jams get us down.
Capitals actually held scoreless the last 5 jams. This is the first points that they have put up on the board in about 10 minutes here. 71-56, 2:30 remaining in the first half.
It's amazing how much momentum means so much in roller derby.
Her Majesty number 27 fighting at the top of the pack. Lead jammer Capitals. I want to guess that's Wookie, but I'm waiting to see her number. Yep, Wild Wookie, number 55. Her Majesty through the pack. She picks up 5 points, including that jammer lap point. Wookie having some issues getting knocked to the outfield. Number 210, Bangarang Faye, trailing backwards, just trolling for jammers.
She, Wild Wookie, had a great move, kind of just jumping around the inside of Bisco Fever, able to break through and get through the pack. And now we have jammer on jammer action.
5 points on the board for Her Majesty as Wild Wookie breaks free as both of them exit the pack. Her Majesty, though, seeing all of those West Texas blockers, decides to go for points.
Great play by Her Majesty.
12-0 in that last jam. Score now, 83-56, a minute and a half remaining in the half.
I'm guessing we're going to have 2 more jams the way that we've been having jams, unless we are going to have one of those patented power jams that we've been seeing so far in this game.
+20. Under 2 minutes to go here, almost 1 minute left here in the first half.
West Texas again in black and purple lined up against the Capitals in orange. MC Slamma, the jammer of record for the Capitals. She is jamming against number 8, Carcinogen, and MC Slamma is out. Lead.
Was not easy for MC Slammer. She was playing a little pinball, getting through, but
Carcinogen out on the outside. It was almost as if the Capitals stopped paying attention to her and she just zoomed around the outside, ready to score. 4 points, though, for MC Slamma. She will call off the jam.
MC Slammer looked like she didn't want to really call it off. She wanted to keep on skating and try to get some more points, but the smart thing to do was to call it off.
Score 87-56. We've got 18 seconds remaining in the first half.
Looks like we're going to have enough time for one more jam, though.
And penalty box as we come into the last seconds of
Indeed we do. The jam time is out, so we are only on jam time right now during the first half of this game.
Bam Bam Blocker 1-4-3 out and lead. We had a star stash on the part of grinning number 35, Bomb Dylan. She's like, helmet covers, how do they work? 1 point for Bam Bam Blocker is going to send us into halftime. Score right now 87-56, 29 points separating these two teams at the half.
I would say the biggest thing with this game so far, this first half, is those penalties. Those penalties has been the thing that has the power jams. Power jams created by those penalties has been the difference maker so far.
We are going to head into our halftime break now. We'll be back with a recap of the first half and a second half of action here at Mayday Mayhem. You're watching the Capital Stars versus the West Texas All-Stars. And my name is Miscommunication.
And I'm Eeyore Jameson.
And we'll see you after the break. We are back from the first half. We are running a short halftime right now so that we can try and get the tracks to catch up with each other. 87-57 right now, 30-point game. Cheyenne Capitals in the lead. I'm Miscommunication.
And I am Eeyore Jameson.
We will have stats for you from the first half when we get, we'll share them during the breaks here.
The breaks that we have the ability to.
Once again, Cheyenne Capitals in orange, West Texas in black and purple. Only a 30-point game right now. Her Majesty, number 27, with the star for the Capitals. She is skating against number 8, Carcinogen. And Her Majesty is out, lead jammer. Carcinogen also out and ready to score. Capitals losing their pivot to the penalty box for a 30-second sit. West Texas losing a blocker as well. Her Majesty with the hip assist picks up 4 points. Carcinogen out and ready to score, but Capitals running away with the pack. Her Majesty calls off the jam, but only 2 points 2 points stolen by Carcinogen in that last jam, 4-2.
Sorry, I was watching Derby. I got lost a little bit there. I was paying attention to the penalties. It had some a multiplayer block in there. Haven't seen one of those yet during this game.
59-91, West Texas underneath Cheyenne. Dream Eraser, number 11, on the line for West Texas, but Roll Pounce out in front, lead jammer for Cheyenne.
Both teams have blockers coming out of the penalty box.
West Texas kind of shrinking the pack around Roll Pounce. Roll Pounce right now on her first scoring pass. I'm not sure she's aware that Dream Eraser was approaching the pack. 2 points for Roll Pounce. Just in the nick of time calling that jam. 2-0 in favor of the Capitals.
As we were looking at the stats of the first half, it was interesting seeing that it really was one jam that really made the difference for Cheyenne, as MC Slamma getting 25 points on a power jam. And that was really the difference between the two teams coming out of that first half.
High-scoring jam for West Texas in the last half was number 55, Wookie. She picked up a 19-point jam. Back to the action on the track. That is MC Slamma, 151, and she is lead. Number 55, Wookie. Oh, look at that, the high scorers.
Going up against each other right now. Yeah, Bam Bam Blocker being called on a forearm penalty.
Wookie out and ready to score. MC Slamma forced to recycle from the infield. She goes ahead and decides to go up the middle, takes a knee, goes ahead and calls it off. 2 points, 2-0, yet again.
Seeing a trend now going into the second half. But it's a trend that Cheyenne has been wanting to increase on. I mean, they keep on getting lead jam, keep on scoring points. Doesn't have to be a lot. Right now, the time is really on their side.
96-59, Cheyenne still on top. We've got Miss Enigma on the line for... Oops.
Bomb Dillon is
the
the jammer for Cheyenne. She is the lead jammer of this jam.
But out and putting on the pressure is number 8, Carcinogen. West Texas right now relying on a 3-jammer rotation pretty heavily and consistently. 3 points for Bomb.
Yep, as Cheyenne now just under that 100-point mark at 99 and West Texas at 59. So all of a sudden we have a 40-point lead by Cheyenne just from those 2-point, 3-point jams.
Cheyenne capitalizing on that lead jammer status. They have had lead jammer status all 4 jams of the second half.
Next jam is going to start off with the Capitals having 1 blocker down. That's Karen Urasup that's sitting in the penalty box. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Wild Wookie headed to the penalty box on a back block penalty. That means that number 333, Miss Enigma, has lead jammer status and is also in a power jam. West Texas losing another blocker to the penalty box.
Yeah, not only a blocker, but their pivot as well. So they have the jammer and the pivot going to talk some strategy in the penalty box, I would only assume.
Ladies in orange losing Vivian Layham out also to the box. Missy still on her first scoring pass.
Now this jam is starting to look a little bit more like the beginning of the first half, I should say. A lot of penalties really causing the pendulum going back and forth.
Miss Enigma goes ahead and calls off the jam just a little too late. Wild Wookie released from the penalty box straight to the bench at the end of that jam. Cheyenne now over the century mark, 104-59, 24 minutes left in the game.
Bam Bam Blocker is going to be jamming for West Texas in the black and purple, going up against, I believe that was Bisco Fever back behind there. No, I was right. It's Her Majesty. I'm sorry.
Bam Bam Blocker out in front, lead jammer for West Texas. Her Majesty in, spinning and around again. She is still completing her initial pass.
As Vivian being released from the penalty box for the Capitals. And just as the jam is called off, we have a 5-on-5 as the West Texas All-Stars had their blocker released from the penalty box as well. No points scored on the last jam. Score remains 104-59.
Within the package, stayed in front of Bam Bam Blocker and did not let her get any purchase.
We're seeing a lot of defensive folks headed to the penalty box. We had 3 power jams between the two teams this far into the first half of the game. So Jammers really cleaning up their game, I believe, here in the second half, with only 1 power jam being given up by West Texas.
Jammers are really forced to because they know that those power jams, that is what's made up the difference.
Carcinogen on the line up against number 311, Roll Pounce for Cheyenne. Roll Pounce free from the pack. Cheyenne kind of playing this strange formation, but not a formation defense.
Kind of that amoeba blob type defense.
Carcinogen picking up all 4 points, calling off the jam before Roll Pounce can catch up to the pack. 4-0 in favor of West Texas this time.
We were talking about how it's kind of have some formation and not really a formation for their defense on the last jam. I was just thinking about it. They started out the second half so good, getting those power jams and looking like a good team. Right now, they're looking a little bit more discombobulated and not really sure what's going on.
MC Slamma with the star for the ladies in orange. She is up against number 143, Bam Bam Blocker, your lead jammer of record for this jam. Slamma knocked to the outfield, but number 36, Vixen Vex. She will head to the penalty box for a blocking out of bounds penalty. Slamma out and ready to score.
Unfortunately, she is not going to have the opportunity to score, but there was 3 points put on the scoreboard by Bam Bam Blocker on that last jam, making the score right now. Cheyenne 104 to West Texas 66.
Cheyenne has been scoreless in the last 3 jams. West Texas, consequently, was holding that lead jammer status. West Texas looking to maybe build some momentum and make the comeback.
Oh, just as we say that, Cheyenne was able to get a lead jammer. That's 123, hooked on Onyx, first time jamming for Cheyenne.
She's jamming against Wild Wookie. Wookie out and ready to score, but Onyx all the way in the fray. She goes ahead and breaks the pack. 5 points, and Coach Dirte says, let's keep the clock running.
Yeah, the pack is moving, and she's trying to get back up. But she does call off the jam. It does not allow to have a West Texas score on that pass.
5-0 on that risky play by Cheyenne. Cheyenne looking to burn as many seconds as they possibly can off the clock. They are still on top 108-66, but with 20 minutes remaining in a game where we have seen 19-point jams and 25-point jams determine leads.
Yeah, and we know that both teams, they're not afraid to have penalties.
Jam back in play. KY with a big hit to the outside on West Texas's jammer. She's going to be forced to have the reset. That's Miss Enigma, number 333 out in front, lead jammer.
Through the middle there. Fantastic work, Miss Enigma. Picking up the lead jammer for the Capitals.
Carcinogen up at the top of the pack. Good brace being built by number 101, Cruella DeVille. They just will not let her go, but that bridge is going to be a bridge over troubled water here shortly, and they will have to let her go, and she is ready to score.
Miss Enigma trying to get a few points before calling off the jam. Might be holding on to it too long. No. Able to call off the jam and get 3 points for the Capitals as West Texas was not able to get by one of those orange jerseys to be able to score on that last pass.
Capitals taking back momentum. They've got 8 points in this scoring run after being held scoreless for 3 jams. Score now 111-66, 18 minutes remaining, but we all know that in Derby time, that is still a very long time.
It's forever and a half. Starting this next jam with a blocker in the penalty box for Cheyenne. That is Karen Your Ass Up again. Just had a little deja vu moment. I wasn't even expecting it to be the same person. Vivian being called out on a penalty as well. So Capitals having 2 blockers in the penalty box. As lead jam is awarded to West Texas, that is number 55, Wild Wookie, being the lead jammer for this jam. Right behind her, though, is number 27 from Cheyenne, Her Majesty, and they call off the jam.
Jam called off. We've got 17 minutes remaining in the game, 111-66.
6 in favor of Cheyenne. Just over 17 minutes to go here in our battle.
Don't forget to tell your friends you are watching the Mayday Mayhem 2015. Like us and share us on Facebook and Twitter, as well as throw a few bones our way and hit that donate button if you would.
3-1-1 roll pounce on the line for the ladies in orange. She is up against Bam Bam Blocker. Roll pounce out in front, lead jammer.
Some fantastic blocking there.
Bam Bam out and also ready to score. 2 blockers at number 7, Hannah Smash Tana, and number 210, Bangarang Faye in the box. But Roll Pounce breaks free with 4 points.
This pack is just looking really conjointed, disconjointed, I say, on both sides. No one really is creating a pack at all, as we are having blockers just cycling in and out of the penalty box for Cheyenne. Roll Pounce calling off the jam, getting 4 more points on that last pass for the Capitals.
Capitals keeping the clock running again. Another 4 points, 8-4 on that jam.
Yeah, and still having a good enough lead where they can give up a few points every now and then, just to be able to have that clock work in their favor.
We are noticing significantly cleaner play by the jammers here compared to the first half of our game.
Oh, Bisco being called on a multiplayer block. Oh no, it wasn't on Bisco, it was on Bomb, but West Texas able to get a lead jammer.
And just like that, I managed to jinx it. MC Slamma to the box for a track cut. This gives West Texas a power jam and a big advantage with 1 blocker standing in the box for Cheyenne and 1 seated. Not many people in orange for her to beat, and she picks up 5 points for West Texas.
Now we have 2 blockers for West Texas, a blocker and a jammer sitting down for Cheyenne. Real small pack, but Wild Wookie, unfortunately, looking a little winded, needing to take advantage of this situation.
Wild Wookie down and back again. MC Slamma being released from the penalty box as I am speaking right now. Wild Wookie being knocked to the outfield by Bangarang Faye. She's going to go ahead and call off the jam. 4 more points, 9 points total. 5 of those power points for Wild Wookie.
West Texas able to get a few more points, so now the lead is now only at 40, 119-79, as we are going to, no, we're not going to. We're going to be just over 14 minutes left to go in this game.
Capitals are on 119, as we have just over 14 minutes left.
Jab is a play, and Miss Enigma breaks free from the outside. Vivian Lamb out providing the assist on that lead jammer status. Dream Eraser in for West Texas. Pack starting to speed up around turn 4.
The Capitals, Hannah Smash Tana, has been doing a great job of keeping back that West Texas jammer. She went down to on her knees, though, unfortunately, and allowed Carcinogen to be able to break through.
4 points for Missy. She calls off the jam. Score now with 13 minutes left in the game. 123 Cheyenne, 79 West Texas.
As soon as they're past, they're getting back round again, and it's that continuous pulling the position.
Penalty box now empty, so both teams are at full power.
Quite a long time to break out of the backs when they're not getting lead.
Her Majesty finding it around the outside. It was as if nobody was paying attention. She's skating against number 143, Bam Bam Blocker. Bam Bam Blocker, though, taking a big hit in the pack. Rockstar will be sent out for a forearm penalty. Bam Bam Black back up and ready to go. 5 points for Her Majesty.
Just push away through the front of the pack there, having broken out on her.
2 blockers for Capitals sitting in the penalty box.
Bam Bam Blocker with a little bit of a skip as Her Majesty calls it off. 3-3 on that pass. That was 8-3 in the Capitals' favor.
Just that little skip was needed in order to score 3 points for West Texas.
West Texas now at 82, Cheyenne at 131. We've got 12 minutes left in the game.
A lot of credit. She got spilled hard at the first turn, but was still able to gather up courage and will to make that apex jump and grab 3 points for her side.
Pack locking down with black and purple up in the front, but then Hannah Smash Tana out in pursuit against number 88, Sour Patch, for the first time in this game. Sour Patch, of course, one of the pivotal jammers for West Texas, but of course in a tournament you're going to rotate all your jammers through that you can.
Especially this early in the tournament. We saw a lot of that on track 2 this morning, where you had, I think we had 8 jammers total that for the team.
11 minutes to go here in the second half. It's 131-84.
Both teams seeming quite hard to field. New jammers to put out a different style. We can see some
resetting another jam on the track. We've got number 311, Roll Pounce.
new energy coming in. It's also bringing in new style.
She is jamming against number 13, Shadow Smith, who's jamming for the first time and heading to the penalty box on a back block. We have a track cut, though, being called on Roll Pounce conveniently just after the point of no return, so we will have a few more seconds of this jammer penalty.
Roll Pounce having to take a long way around the track, however.
Shadow Smith already on her feet, so that's going to be at least a 20-second penalty for Roll Pounce. Neither jammer eligible for lead jammer status, so we are going to go the remaining 1 minute and 9 seconds of this jam.
Definitely working to the favor for Cheyenne.
Roll Pounce looking for it across the apex. She goes ahead and stays in play. Both jammers out congruently and ready to score. Cheyenne now moving up to the top of the pack, looking to maybe speed it up. They've been playing some keep away all game here.
Been doing a good job of it as well.
Shadow Smith through for 4 points, and Roll Pounce also picking up 4 points of her own.
20 seconds left to play in this jam.
Shadow Smith now back in the pack.
Shadow Smith being pushed out. Unfortunately, it was illegally by Rockstar. Rockstar going to go and sit down for a forearm as Roll Pounce scoring 4 points for Cheyenne.
4 more points for Shadow Smith as the jam has reached its natural conclusion. No change in gap, just the score is higher. 8-8 in that last jam, 139-92, and we've got 8 minutes and 37 seconds remaining in the game.
Both pivots sitting in the penalty box. One standing for West Texas. That is Bam Bam. That's standing, going to be released here soon. As I say that, she is released from the penalty box.
MC Slamma out there with the star. Lead is available, and she becomes it.
Wild Wookie forcing to recycle 50 feet back behind the blocker line.
Pack rounding the turn at number 4. Rockscar being released back onto the track. MC Slamma with the Jamma lap point. 5 points for the Capitals. Capital defense speeding up the pack. Wild Wookie still having issues with completing her initial pass.
always seems to be at the top, waiting for the Jamma.
Hannah Smashtana with the nudge to the outfield. 2 further points for MC Slamma, 0 for Wild Wookie. We could have the alternative altitude discussion.
Yes.
The Capitals live at the same altitude that we are at. West Texas, flying in only a day ago, which is not enough time to acclimate to the altitude. However, I will point out that if altitude was a significant indicator in winning, our professional sports teams would be a little bit more undefeated than they are here in Denver.
Indeed.
146.92. We've got Bomb Dylan out in front, lead jammer. We have a multiple player block being called on KY. She'll go sit for 30 seconds. Carcinogen out and ready to score.
Carcinogen getting close to being able to score 1 point. Unfortunately for her, she was not able to, as the jam was called off, and 4 more points went to the favor of Cheyenne.
So coming up next here, it's just about 10 before 1 here local time. We will be taking a break until 2:30 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. At that time, you will see Duke City's Muñecas Muertas take on Foco Girls Gone Derby's Micro Bruisers. 2:30 here on Colorado Sports TV. But back to the action out on the track. We've got number 88, Sour Patch, out and lead.
She's going up against Hooked on Onyx. Hooked on Onyx seeing a lot more playtime. Oh, but she is being called on a track cut. So she's going to be seeing more playtime right now from the penalty box.
That's a good view for it.
Yeah.
Not really.
Uh-uh.
Onyx having jammed 3 times in this second half. This is the first power jam, though, that she has given up. Sour Patch being knocked to the outfield. West Texas lining it up at the back of the pack. Great block by West Texas as KY backing it up. And with Hooked on Onyx on her feet, she goes ahead and calls off the jam so we can have a power start.
She's done a nice job in relief for the purple and black. I want to take a quick moment once again to make this slaughterhouse roll.
4.5 minutes left to go to play. Cheyenne up 150 to West Texas 95. West Texas hoping to be able to become a lead jammer here, as Cheyenne has a person sitting out. And indeed, they're able to. Bam Bam Blocker, number 143 for West Texas in the black, is the lead jammer.
Onyx out and ready to score. Bam Bam Blocker, though, just cruising through the pack. She's like, I'll pick up my 4 points and call off the jam. Thank you very much.
That's all I need. I just need 4 more points.
99, 150, under 4 minutes remaining in the game. We have 3 days of this World Cup style tournament. We've got 2 groups right now playing against each other. You can go to Colorado Sports TV on Facebook or the Mayday Mayhem Facebook page, and you can actually access a Google document that will show you the schedule as it gets filled out with scores and where people will be seated to play next.
Great.
Number 8, Carcinogen on the line for West Texas and lead jammer.
She's going up against Her Majesty for Cheyenne.
Her Majesty closing the gap, and all those West Texas blockers at the back of the pack. Jen's going to call it off, but both of them will pick up points.
4 points scored by both sides. Again, the lead, the distance of the lead is not different.
If your team is at the back of the pack, and you know the jammer is 2 feet behind you, unless if you have a pretty good reason for running them into your line, i.e. you have confidence that your blocker line can contain that jammer, likely you should probably call it off and not worry about that. We've got lead jammer status awarded to Dream Eraser, but she is knocked to the infield and recycles.
Ooh, MC Slammer making her way around. Dream Eraser was hoping to be able to put some points on and keep MC Slammer back behind the blockers, but she did what she could to get out of that blocker line.
No change in score, 154-103. We are under the 2-minute mark here. 2 minutes left in this second period of the third game of track 1 on a 3-day, 2-track tournament here in Loveland, Colorado.
Lovely Loveland, Colorado.
Number 8, Carcinogen on the line. She is out and lead jamming against Roll Pounce. Roll Pounce out and ready to score. Cheyenne now taking the lead again in the pack. They've got 2 blockers caged in the penalty box right now. West Texas with a full 4.
Multiplayer block being called again on Cheyenne. Something we've been seeing a lot, right, with Cheyenne having only 2 blockers out there, trying to take advantage of holding hands and trying to maneuver each one of them. But those jammers from West Texas just keep going right for the middle. They don't let them release. They're going to get called for the multiplayer every time.
Well, if you don't know to release and have that timing happening while you're setting up your brace, that is the trick is, brace, release, brace, release, brace, release, and to sort of shove the jammer away from where your brace is set up. 158-106, 32 seconds remaining in the game. 2-7, 4 arms. Her Majesty headed out to the box. This is a power jam for Sour Patch.
Sour Patch will go at it for West Texas in this. It should be the final jam of the game.
West Texas doing the best time specifically counted all.
I feel it, 52-point jam right here. Gonna tie it up.
Well, you never know. I've seen Sour Patch do some zippy things in her day. Bangarang Faye entering back in the back of the pack. We do have Her Majesty on her feet. We'll see Sour Patch with 1 to beat at the top of the pack, and she does lead jammer. And West Texas.
We are on jam time right now as the game clock is at 0.
Her Majesty out and ready to score. West Texas in control of the clock. Right at the pack, rounding around turn 4. She hits the pack. And 4 points for Her Majesty, 3 points for West Texas and Sour Patch. And that, folks, is going to be the end of the game.
And allowing the Capitals in those last 2 jams to get extra sneaky points.
The unofficial final score right now stands at 162 for Cheyenne and 109 for West Texas.
Significantly lower scoring game here in the second half. We have the high score belonging to number 311, Roll Pounce, at 8 whole points was the high score.
Wow.
And 9 points for number 55, Wookie, for West Texas, being the high score for that.
We still saw the power jams in there, just they weren't able to capitalize on them as they did during that first half with that 18-point and 25-point power jam that we saw on the two sides.
As the Capitals do take home that victory, 162-109. West Texas, of course, coming around for the congratulations. Folks, we are going to go ahead and take a break here to reset, catch up our tracks, of course. But it is a 1 o'clock. We are running on our own time here in the Mountain Time Zone at 2:30.
Mayday Mayhem 2015. We will have a break now, so please
2:30 we should be seeing on, no? All right.
It's number, my numbers are cut off on the right-hand side there on my schedule. I apologize for that. We have Group 1 seeded first place Rage City Roller Girls, who had that electrifying game first thing today. They will be...
No, that's not. That's Team 4.
Oh, sorry, Team 4. I apologize, you guys. Durango Roller Girls playing against Muddy River. That'll be coming up at 2:30 p.m.
Yep.
That is Mountain Time. And thank you so much for tuning in here on Colorado Sports TV. My name is Ms. Communication.
And I am Eeyore Jameson.
And you guys have a great break. We'll see you at 2:30.
See ya.
I really have to pee. I'm like, I do have feedback, but I need to pee.
Yes.
So let's pee and then meet real quick. Sweet.
Over food, or you want to do it quick before we do food?
Quick before getting food.
So I got to pee stuff. So, how about meet just right outside of food?
Yeah, sure.
Who are you? My name's Del. I love